All right, so thanks for seeing the video today. So maybe you're looking to get a little more distance out of your battery in your RV, maybe do some boondocking, stuff like that. And you know, there's a couple systems that you need to check before you can just buy a lithium battery and put it in there. You cannot just take this battery and bolt it into your camper. There's three systems, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and go over those real quick, and then we're gonna talk about some pros and cons of the lithium battery. The first system is you know, different from lead acid battery. Lithium batteries can take a charge really fast, and that's really good, and that's why people use them. But the downside to that is if you have a charging system or you have the charging fuse in your truck, and that's going to be the black wire in this pigtail right here. What will happen is if you plug this in, you put the lithium battery in there, it's probably going to blow your 30 amp fuse. And it's going to do that pretty quickly because it's going to try to pull 80, 100 amps out of your truck, because that lithium battery is going to try to charge itself. And so that's one system that you've got to check. So for me, I'm putting in a different inverter. Like I said, it's going to be a different video, and I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to do my charge control with it so I can set up the parameters of the battery. But one of the things I want to show you is I trace that black wire into my panel down here where my battery box is. It comes in right here. And so this will need to be disconnected. And you can buy a inexpensive, it's called a DC to DC charge controller. And what that does is, I think Renogy makes it, Vectron makes them. And what it does is it'll limit it. So you can buy a 15 amp or you can buy a 30 amp. You know, 30 amp's gonna push it. So a lot of people try to find like a 20 amp. And that way when you plug it in, it takes the 20 amp from the vehicle. It will not pull more than 20 amps. And it puts that 20 amps in your battery. So it's kind of like a valve. It slows the flow of the charge, if you know what I mean. So that's the first thing you need to check, okay? The second thing you need to check is your solar. A lot of these come with a small solar panel that's 12 volt on the roof. Same thing, okay? Those solar controllers, most of them are not ready for lithium. On the back here, you see I've got a solar controller back there. I've got one of the small panels on the roof. I'm going to change all that out and put large panels in a different controller. But the same thing there is that is not a lithium compatible. So I pulled the fuse on it and disconnected both of those wires, because we do not want that hooked up to these batteries. It's going to cause you a lot of issues, and it's going to happen quick, okay? The next thing we're going to talk about is your converter, okay? Your converter is basically what takes the 110 when you plug it in, or 240, your AC power, and it converts it to 12 volt DC and charges your 12 volt DC battery. A lot of these are lithium ready, but you need to find yours. You need to make sure that it doesn't have a switch, toggle, anything you need to do. Some of them are auto, they auto sense. You can put the lithium in, so you're good there, okay? My situation, I'm putting in an inverter that's like an auto transfer switch, and it's gonna take care of charging my battery. So on my RV, I'm going to completely just shut that breaker off. I do not need to run my converter. It is lithium and it is auto, so I don't have any issues there. And let me show you where that's at. Okay, so most of your converters are located up here in the front. You can see I've removed my panel, my carpeted panel right here, so you can see all this equipment. And then I've got my instant hot water heater right here. And if you go around the back, you'll see your converter, okay? If you look down there, mine says auto detect lithium ready. Mine's a WFCO, so it would charge my battery. So at this point, if I wasn't making any other modifications to the RV and I was just going to bolt it in there, disconnect the solar controller and disconnect that tow wire and give me a DC to DC. But if I've got those two things disconnected, my converter will charge the lithium battery and it would work, and my 12 volt stuff would last a lot longer. So that's a simple way to do it. And if you're looking for your converter breaker, let me switch this around. So because I'm going to utilize a different charging system, if you look right here, you can actually hear the converter fan running back there. I'm just going to shut this breaker off right here. I do not need to charge that. I've got another system that's going to charge that battery. Okay, so the benefits of the lithium battery is it takes a charge really fast. They hold a lot more storage, you know, over lead acid. They're sealed. Lots of good things, right? These units come with what they call a BMS. This one has a 250 amp BMS. And so when we talk about how much starting amps you need, okay, a Cummins Onan or an NPS 5500 generator, generally about 80 amps. So even if you had a 100 amp hour with 100 BMS, you should be able to start it, because it's a short period of time. But these are definitely not made for cranking over car engines or anything over, you know, whatever their BMS rating is. This one happens to be 250, and it's one of the higher ones that's being made right now. Most of them I've seen are 150 to 200 amps. So that battery management system basically takes care of this battery. If it gets too hot, it shuts it down. You know, a little bit of, if it's charging and it's not charging correctly, the BMS will shut it down. A lot of these batteries are heated. I live in Texas, so I'm not so worried about the heated. This battery, I think specifically, does not have heating in it. And so it needs to be somewhere that it doesn't get less than 32 degrees. You can utilize the battery under 32 degrees, but you just can't charge it. You will actually hurt the battery if you charge it at the lower temperature. You know, a lot of other batteries have heating built in. You can buy those if that's what you're looking for. Then, which brings me to the next point on the Lithium is, if you look down here in this bay, this is not an insulated bay right here, okay? And the other problem I have with it is it's gonna get heat from my generator set. The roof of all this and this flooring is insulated, and this is basically temperature controlled in this box, you know, if I'm running my heater or my air conditioner or whatever. So I'm gonna put this battery up here. I'm not putting it in this box because it does get down below 32 degrees here, not often, but it does. And you know, if the camper's running and we're running the heater, it's gonna be a nice 65, 70 degrees in here, so I won't have any problems with that. So you need to think about where you're gonna put it. A lot of times storing it in here, especially if you're up north, that's not gonna work. You're just gonna be fighting extreme temperatures. And the other thing is do not heat above 70 degrees, which I think is 150 something, to hold me to that. But that generator heat does dissipate under this cabinet, and so it does get a little bit warm in here. Doesn't affect the lead acid battery, but not really good for lithium. So we're moving it up here. I'm gonna build my inverter rack. I'm gonna stay tuned for those videos, but just wanted to kind of tell you, if you're gonna put a lithium battery in, you need to check those systems. Check your converter, check your solar, and then your charge wire right here coming from your pigtail. Either pull the fuse on your truck or pull it off of there till you get a DC to DC charger. So anyway, I'd like to thank you for watching the video today. Stay tuned. We've got an awesome inverter setup we're putting in that auto transfers and all that. It's a Victron system. It's called the Multi Plus 2. So stay tuned. We'll catch you on the next video. Please hit that like and subscribe. Later.